What's up, everyone? Welcome back to New York Sports Machine. Kevin Walsh, Joe Archino. We're going to now get into some Barcelona talks. Obviously, Barcelona now is going to be, looking to repeat as winners of the treble in first place in La Liga. And one of the things that they're going to be trying to do now is add players during this January transfer window. And there are two certain players in the Premier League who they seem to have their eye on. The first is Ander Herrera of Manchester United, and the second being Aaron Ramsey of Arsenal. Now, Herrera is a bit more attacking, as to where Ramsey is a bit more defensive. And obviously, Barcelona right now, even though they have been so dominant because of that front three, their midfield has suffered some injury, so is the back line. Obviously, they had the Messi injury, but he's now back, so they're sorted up front. But behind those three players have gone down. And, Joe, I ask you, as far as these two players go, the likelihood on getting one or both, do they need, either of these guys? I guess you could start with Ander Herrera, and what do you think about him being potentially moving to Barcelona?
I think both players have a tremendous value to Barcelona right now. Barcelona, obviously, a huge clash this weekend coming up against Atletico Madrid. So really, the win here, it will really help at the end of the day when the La Liga title is kind of handed down. When it comes to both of them, the thing I always worry about the transfer window for a big club like Barcelona is we all know the Barcelona is a machine with the way that they play, the way that they're efficient, and the way they pass the ball, the way that they communicate, and the way they just free-flowing move. And it's very difficult for a player coming from the Premier League to come in right away and fit into that. It's not a fault of the player. This is a very complicated tactic scheme to run and to fit into. So it's going to take time no matter who they have to fit into the Barcelona system. Coming off as substitutes, I think, is where they'll make their mark right away. And Barcelona's in position right now where I think the stability they have, where at Real Madrid we're seeing instability kind of from the top down. I know Zidane is there. I think the players get along better with him, but I think they've had their issues. And Atletico Madrid is fantastic. I love Diego Simeone, but at the end of the day, as long as you can keep Messi and as long as you keep Suarez and Neymar upright, I think everything's just going to flow for them. I really do.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why, we're not seeing right now Barcelona panic spending. Ramsey and Herrera, they're not going to be breaking the bank. But you mentioned the communication of things and that style of play, and I do believe that, too. There's a language barrier that is very apparent on a pitch.
Yes.
These players speak such different languages, and obviously they find ways to make it work. But I believe that Aaron Ramsey, if he was realistically to go to a La Liga side, it would make more sense kind of to go to Real Madrid. Being Welsh, he could, Gareth Bale and just more of the English-speaking players over there, as to where, a Spanish guy like Ander Herrera can kind of fit, he can fit in easily. It'd be an easier transition for him. And also, an excellent point you made is that neither of them are going to come in and start day one.
Yes.
They're bench players. And Herrera, to me, can give you more of a spark than Ramsey. I think Ramsey can help you hold a lead, and he's more of that type of player, can make some excellent long shots. He does have a flair for the dramatic and being able to make shots like that, but I think Herrera fits more into the build-up play and, picking out the pass that, leads to the spectacular play that's made by one of the front three. So I think that Herrera fits a lot more into it. The problem, though, is that Barcelona's not the only team interested in the youngster. Juventus, very interested. A couple of the, Serie A sides actually have expressed their interest. But, also, how willing is Manchester United really to be giving up players with all of the problems that they're having right now? So I think that Ander Herrera moving to Barcelona is not a certainty, but I do believe that between the two, it makes more sense for Herrera, and I think that honestly, it's going to be a really good signing for Barcelona.
No, there's no question about it. And I think you made an incredible point there about the language barrier. That we see that really, really makes a difference. It's not something people mention a lot of times. But I'll give you an example. Angel Di Maria was an incredible player for Real Madrid, doing incredible things, helped them win the Champions League. Then he makes the move to Manchester United, and you couldn't even tell he was there.
Right.
It was a disaster. It is difficult when you're a player that speaks a different language, going to a totally different league. It's difficult because learning and being able to communicate is half the battle of learning. That's how you learn, is you communicate, people express how you play in the system. It makes everything flow easier, and sometimes when you can't do that, it just makes the transition even more complicated. for that reason, I think, like you said right there, it just make that even more of a slam dunk.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm not saying that Aaron Ramsey though couldn't fit, but maybe that's more of a summer
Yes.
move because, you're going to bring him in
More
mid-season
time.
and so now you have to not only have this, this kid learn the language, but the system, you're mid-season, and who knows when Aaron Ramsey realistically then would be able to give you those big minutes. So I think that, we both would agree that Ander Herrera might make a bit more sense for Barcelona.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, let us know down below in the comment section, Aaron Ramsey, Ander Herrera. Maybe there's another player out there that you think Barcelona needs to sign. Let us all know down below in that comment section. Kevin Walsh, Joe Archino. We'll see you guys next time.